Alrighty then, welcome to Tinkercad Basics. This is step 4. We've come a long way. Today we're going to build some crazy things. Maybe not very useful, but we're going to learn a lot of different steps and different settings that we can use here in Tinkercad. So I'm going to change the name first. I don't like having the strange names that they give to us. So I'm going to say Basics Step 4, hit enter, and we're on a roll. Now, remember, this is your work plane. Everything that you design should fit on the work plane if you intend to export it. It depends on the 3D printer or laser cutter that you're using to set the size. If you want to change the size of your work plane, you can go ahead and do that here. You click on the settings. You can change the background color. I'm gonna leave that back. I'm gonna put it at white. Actually, I like white. Do I need shadows? Do I need a grid on the work plane? Now we're gonna cruise when adding new shapes. That's super helpful for putting things on faces or on top of other shapes. Here's the speed. You can play with that. I'm always using metric, and I really prefer 1:1 millimeters in default. And for the size of my workspace, my work plane, I normally leave it at 200 by 200, even though I have some printers that are a lot bigger than that. But I don't always design for the full size of my 3D printers. So anyway, 200 by 200 is enough for me for today. If you want to change it, go ahead and do so. All right, close settings. Now down here, there's also what's called the snap grid. Now when you place a block out here or shape of any sort, when you are moving it from left to right or front to back, it's going to move exactly 1 millimeter, and each time it moves, it's gonna go at 1 millimeter intervals. If you want to change that, 5 millimeters or a quarter of a millimeter, 0.1 millimeters. If you want really good detail, go ahead and change it to 0.1, and you get the tiniest little bit of movement for the snap. I often find myself having to change it to 0.25 often when I'm trying to make things align just right. So if it's not aligning for you, this is where you need to go. You can even turn it off and you'll have perfect alignment every time, but it's gonna be a bit sensitive sometimes. Normally 0.25 works for me every single time. I've never had to go turn it off or 0.1. But anyway, you might find yourself in that position. Go ahead, that's where your settings are. All right. Now, when we're using Tinkercad, if you want a shape from the shapes library, you can click and drag it, or you can click it, and then this is what's called the cruise. It's cruising now. Notice I'm just moving my mouse. I'm not holding the mouse button. I clicked once on the shape, and now it's just following my mouse. It's following me around. It's doing what's called the cruise. So I'm going to stick that right there on the top. Don't know why yet, but that's where it's going to go. How about we make a little fidget toy? We can use these 3 shapes that we've got here, and we can make a little joystick type of fidget toy, right? So I'm going to resize this block. Now I'm going to hold shift when I do it. Hold shift down, and I'm going to pull on one of these white handles, and I can get my block to resize all the way around. Now I want this to be a square, so I'm going to check 33 by 33. How tall is it? 33. It's a perfect cube. Great. All right, that'll work for me. Now take this cylinder and let's zoom it up a little bit. I gotta increase the size of this sphere. All right, and now I want these to be lined up perfectly, which they are not. So I'm gonna click in the white space, click away from my shapes, and drag a selection pane around those 2 shapes. and I'm gonna use the align tool. I want center and center, and I don't want the horizontal alignment to move at all. So there it is. Perfect. All right, now we're gonna make a little joystick fidget tool toy. So what we're gonna do, I think we can make it smaller. I think that'll work out for us. And now I want this to be one piece, but I'm thinking I might make it a little bit taller. So let's go ahead and move this ball up. Use the cone at the top, the sphere, and I'm gonna stretch this cylinder up. And notice the top of that cylinder is up inside the sphere. I want that. I want to make sure that these two shapes are really combined together. All right, now select these two. Let's group them. So I'm only working with one shape, and I'm going to change the color just because the orange color doesn't really work for me all the time. Okay. All right, so we're going to stick this inside of here. We're going to copy and paste. We're going to make it a hole, and then we're going to cut away the hole and move this back inside. I know you didn't follow that, but watch what happens, all right? So what we're gonna do first, turn it around. I'm holding shift while I do that. And now I wanna put this right in the center. So I'm gonna select both of those shapes and use the align tool again. And I accidentally clicked away from that. There it is, all right? It is exactly centered right at the moment, okay? So let's go ahead, pull this up just until I can see the sphere. All right, that's the bottom, well, the top now, top of the sphere, okay? All right, what I want to do is I want to make this a hole, all right? I'm going to cut that out of this cube here. But before I do that, I'm going to copy and paste, Control C, Control V. All right, here it goes. But before I do that even, let's change the radius on this particular cube. Now, remember I said this is going to be a fidget toy. I don't like those very sharp corners on my fidget toys. So I'm going to change the radius a little bit. Not a lot. What is it at? 0.5? That's fine. And notice I have rounded corners now. That's gonna feel better on my fingers. That's not gonna hurt my hands when I use it. So I will be able to hold that, grab it, really give it a good squeeze, and it won't be sharp and hurt my hands, okay? Now you can go ahead and do that as much as you want. You might have to give the bottom supports if you're 3D printing it, but no big deal. All right, so now we're at 2.3. 2.0, 2.07, something like that. That's fine, whatever. All right. Okay, now what we're gonna do now is we're gonna cut the hole away from this cube. So let's go ahead and select both of those shapes. Use the union group. And there it is. I have that hole just right. Now, why did we make a copy of that? Well, that is going to be our joystick. We're going to shrink this and we're going to stick it back in there. We'll probably have to raise it up a little bit so that it doesn't get stuck. All right, so let's go ahead and turn our hole back into a solid. Got it. And now holding shift, I'm going to try and, you know what? It'll probably be easier if I just type. I'm going to give it 2 millimeters smaller. And there we go. And now the height, 42, 2 millimeters smaller is 40. All right. And now let's go ahead and center these. So I select both of them, use the align tool, center, center, done. All right, let's check what it looks like. We're gonna have to look inside. What that means is I'm gonna click this red cube, click the color, and change it to transparent. And would you look at that? It is stuck down at the bottom. This is not gonna be free to move around at all. So let's go ahead and click the cone and raise it up. Now, notice we've got a gap all the way around there. So what's going to happen is when I print this, it's going to be free to move, and it's going to be like a little joystick, and I can move it around left, right, forward, and back. Now, depending on the tolerances of your 3D printing setup that you got going on, you might be able to make this gap smaller or possibly have to make it larger. It depends on what you can confidently print. This has to be printed in place. The reason being is the sphere is bigger than the hole at the top, so it can't come out. It's locked in there, and that's what we wanted. I like that about it. But if your 3D printer is gonna have a hard time printing this, go ahead and give it 1 more millimeter and cut the gap down a little bit. All right, so then we'll go ahead and we'll center this 1 more time using the align tool. I try not to fight with the tools, the shapes, and center them manually. I like to just use the align tool and be done with it. You know, it's 3 clicks. All right, now look at this. This is exactly what we were talking about at the beginning of the video when I mentioned the bottom down here, snap grid. Watch what happens when, see, it's stuck at the bottom. When I click the cone and I raise it up, now it's too close to the edge up here. It's not even all the way around. So 1 millimeter snap is too much. I don't want a full millimeter, so I'm gonna change it to 0.25, and let's go down a little bit. That looks really close. Ah, now that looks perfect. Remember what I said about 0.25? It seems to always work for me. Now notice the top gap all the way around the side down to the bottom and all the way back around is even. It's the perfect sized gap all the way around. All right, looks good. Now, when the 3D printer prints this, it's gonna print this and it's gonna be a little fuzzy at the bottom, but we won't notice it. So when you first pull this out of your printer, it's gonna be stuck a little bit, and you just kind of wiggle it loose and then play with it for a little while, and by the end of the day, it's gonna be super free and perfectly fun to play with, right? And that is your interlocking fidget toy. So could we make it cooler than that? Of course. Now there's no reason that you can't put your name in here and stuff like that. Let's put my initials on here. Is my name Bob Ross? I don't think so, but I'm just gonna put BR. I don't know why. Let's go ahead and smash this in using the cone, and then let's change our letters to a hole. All right, select both of those shapes. Now notice when I select things, I don't have to go and make a big giant circle or a square all the way around. I just want to touch my hole and my solid together with the selection pane. So you just click somewhere, boop, and I'm touching those 2 shapes. Those 2 shapes are selected, and when I use the union group, I will cut the BR out of my new toy. There it is. Over here, maybe I want to make another little design. Let's make, here we go. This is my self-portrait, and I'm doing this with the scribble tool. Now this looks just like me. You don't know it, do you? But it does. Whee! Stick your tongue out. Ha! Should we give them some freckles? Here we go. And click done when you're done. Alright, it's a bit too big. Don't worry, we can resize it. There it is. Let's squish it down. Raise it up. Squish it down. Yeah, that's alright. Now we gotta put it into our shape. So we're gonna make it longer this way. Now let's check. Notice that it's right here. I don't think it's gonna interfere with the the stuff inside, but I don't want to risk it, so I'm gonna go ahead and make it a little bit less inside there. Alright, okay, make it a hole. Pew. Select those two shapes, union group, and look at that, we've got a cool little cutout. That's so cool. So it's got a picture of me, it's got my initials. What goes over here, that's up to you guys. For me, I'm gonna put a star in there. Now if you do something crazy like that, don't keep clicking. I just clicked the wrong thing, so I'm gonna click over here, undo, boop, and I'm back to where I started. Okay, don't get scared. I'm gonna hit control, undo again. I messed it up again. Alright, so I'm gonna raise it up and weep. Now it's a little bit too tall. Alright, there we go. Now stretch it to the right, squeeze it to the left. We're gonna make sure it's inside of our shape. Look, it is not. See the edge of it? It's right on our shape, but it's not in our shape. So we gotta push it in a little bit. Make it a hole. And guess what? Select the two shapes, union group, and cut that away. There's my star. Pretty cool. Alright, we've got one more side to do. What should we do over here? We've got other shapes. How about a heart? Alright, squeeze that down a little bit, raise it up. Now, make sure it's inside of our shape, which is, it is not. It's on the shape, but it's not in the shape. So push it in. Now it's in 1 millimeter. You want it a little more? There it is. There's about 2 millimeters, 1.75. Okay. Turn our heart into a hole. And select those two shapes, union group, and there it is. We've got a heart. Alright, nice. Now, I talked about the edges of our cube being nice and round and easy to touch, but what about the top of our joystick handle? Look how sharp it is. We could do something like this. We could put this dome on the top. That would work, right? So let's see. Let's try to make it the same size. I don't know how big this thing is. We could have measured before, but this won't take very long. There we go. It's something like that. Let's zoom in a little bit so we get it right to the edge here. And go onto this side. Whee! Now I'm using my right mouse button. And I'm clicking the center click. The center click is the scroll wheel. I like to click that while I'm working. It really helps a lot. Alright, we're almost there. I think that's got it right there. Looks pretty good, except it's huge. Alright. Let's see here. Could be a little bigger here. Doop. Could be a little bit bigger there. Let's check this side. That looks pretty good. Now, there's something about this shape that we might be able to change. And no, we don't have any sliders that we can change for the half sphere. I wanted to make it a little bit smoother, but there's nothing we can edit, so that'll have to do. Looks alright for me. Now, if you don't like that top, don't worry. You can put this sphere on the top. Go ahead and smash it down inside. You want to resize it maybe? And then put it down a tiny bit. And then let's select those two shapes. Use our align tool. Center and center. And there you have it. There's a sphere. And I'll go down a little bit more. There. Seems that the spheres fits onto there a little bit better. So let's delete this. Just click it and click delete. Alright, now there is our fidget toy. Using the skills that we've used today, you can pretty much make whatever it is that you want. These are the basic skills, right? Copy and paste. We used the handles to resize. We typed the size in some cases. We used the align tool a lot. We used the group. Using those particular skills, if you're creative at all, you can make really cool stuff. So these are just the basics for today, like how to rearrange things, how to cut holes, how to make something that's fun. Now this fidget toy, I have made a bunch of these, and people have asked me, can you make me another one? I want to give it to my friend, or I want to give it to my mom and dad. They're very popular and they're very fun to play with. And now what's cool about this is holding shift, you can make these really small and you can 3D print a bunch of them, and you can do like one little finger size. All you have to do, right, copy and paste, and then select both of those, and then copy and paste those. Don't do that. Just like that. Oopsie. I'm gonna hit Control Z. Let's try that again. Copy, paste. Now there we go. Remember, when you mess something up, don't start clicking and try and fix it. Just click undo and then start again. Copy, paste, and here we go. So yeah, I did it again. Select everything, copy and paste, and here we are. There's 8 of them. I can print those all out right away and give them to my friends, just like that. If you want these bigger, well, make them bigger. Hold shift. There they are. Now when you print these, you can use 5% infill. 15 is fine, but you don't even need that much. 5% works just fine. Give it 2 or 3 exterior walls and it'll be perfect. It'll be great. Okay, anyway, basic step number 4. This is all your basics for Tinkercad. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments. I promise I'll get back to you. Okay, see you later.